All right, thank you guys. Once again, happy Saturday to you. And if you really end up enjoying this video and you feel like you want to give it a thumbs up, please feel free to do so by hitting that the thumbs up button right below this video. And if you haven't already joined the Brock Page delegation, please feel free to do that right now by tapping that subscribe button below. Let's go ahead and get into some college basketball action. I'm talking about the Texas Longhorns squaring off against Kansas. That's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern tip-off at the Allen Fieldhouse. The Kansas Jayhawks are the 4-point favorite at home. Totals 136.5. And if you like the Longhorns in an upset away from home here, they're plus $1.60 for some money line cash. We're 3-1 in our last 4 board member tier package picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. We're also hitting at 73% in our last 12 board member tier package picks in that same category as well. And the good news is this. We have another board member tier package play going off today. We currently have a community of over 675 handicappers who are serious about what they do. They're signed up and active on that Patreon page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, I'd love to have you, and the link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, the Texas Longhorns have failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight, just 1-3 against the spread in their last 4. The Longhorns are also shooting just 32% from beyond the arc. They're taking on a Kansas team who's coming fresh off a 14-point victory over West Virginia. Pretty much steamrolled them. Held the Mountaineers to just 65 points in that ball game. The Jayhawks are currently on an 8-game winning streak, and they find themselves a perfect 5-0 straight up at the Allen Fieldhouse this year. Kansas is scoring nearly 80 points a night and currently shooting 40% from beyond the arc. Now, Ochai Agbaji is scoring 15 points a game, 5 boards and a couple assists for the junior. Meanwhile, Jalen Wilson's also scoring 15 a game along with 8 boards and a couple assists himself. The Jayhawks have taken 9 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Longhorns. And of course, when it comes to the total on this one, Kansas' opening 2 ball games of the 2021 season got over the posted number. They're also coming fresh off a game with West Virginia that got over the line as well. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the Longhorns, they're coming off a game with Oklahoma State really. Blurt it out, man. Let it go. Let it rip. Let's try it again. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Longhorns are coming off a game with Oklahoma State that got over the posted total themselves in their last outing. Yes, we got it out. Give me the Kansas Jayhawks -4 and the over 136.5 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for college basketball here on a Saturday. Once again, happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful New Year's Day. Now, before we go ahead and dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, just have to quickly remind you, once again, that we are 3-1 in our last 4 board member tier package picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. We're also hitting at 73% in our last 12 board member tier package picks in that same category as well. And just remember, guys, when you sign up for a membership on Patreon, you get access to all the lesser expensive memberships absolutely free. And no, you did not mishear me. When you sign up for one of my memberships on Patreon, you instantly get access to all the lesser expensive tiers absolutely free, which means that the cheaper memberships are included with your purchase. And for those who are wondering what the difference is between my free picks here on YouTube and my paid premium picks on my Patreon site, well, what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you as I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day versus, handicapping every single game that shows up on my Xfinity app, side and total. So once again, make life easy for you. Break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day on that site. They're my personal plays, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, I'm having a lot more success betting on games that way and smaller sample sizes versus wagering on every single game that's on the slate side in total, like I do here with my free leans on YouTube. And we currently have a community of over 675 handicappers, smart handicappers, who are signed up and active on that site. So if you want to join those very smart folks, those folks who are serious about sports betting, if you want to join them and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And moving on, we're going to take a look at another marquee matchup. It is Iowa versus Rutgers. 12 p.m. Eastern start time in New Jersey. 2 p.m. Eastern start time in New Jersey. The Hawkeyes are the 3-point favorite away from home. Totals 158.5. And if you like the Rutgers Scarlet Knights in an upset at home here, they're plus $1.45 to win this one outright. Rutgers has failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 7, throwing out the Purdue game. And as a matter of fact, one of those failures to cover was an outright loss to Ohio State by 12 points. The Scarlet Knights are currently giving up 71 points a game on the defensive end of the court. They're taking on a high-powered Iowa team who scores over 94 points a game themselves. Luka Garza scoring 28 points a game, 10 boards, and a couple of blocks for the 6'11 center. Meanwhile, Joe Wieskamp's also scoring over 15 a game himself, 7 boards and 2 assists a game for the starting guard. Iowa's currently 8-2 straight up on the season, and they've taken 6 out of their last 8 head-to-head meetings with Rutgers. I should really start editing these videos and chopping them up, but I'm not going to do that. That takes too much time. Anyway, total-wise, Iowa's 2-0 to the over away from their home court, 80% to the over through 10 ball games this season. Meanwhile, Rutgers is 75% to the over themselves, 5-1 to the over on their home court. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes -3 in the over 158.5. All right, next matchup I have for you. It is going to be West Virginia versus Oklahoma, 4 p.m. Eastern tip. The Oklahoma Sooners are the 1-point favorite at home. Totals 144 flat. Oklahoma's coming fresh off a 2-point loss to Texas Tech in their last outing. Scored just 67 points in that contest. The Sooners have also failed to cover the number in 4 out of their last 6, including failures to cover against the likes of Houston Baptist and Oral Roberts. Now, the Sooners are giving up over 71 points a night, and they allow their opponents to shoot nearly 38% from beyond the arc. They're taking on a West Virginia squad who's won 5 out of their last 6 ball games, and they give up just 67 points a game. Miles McBride's dropping 15 points a game, 4 boards and a couple of steals per contest for the sophomore. Derek Culver's also scoring over 14 points a game along with 10 boards and a couple assists. West Virginia's 8-2 straight up on the season, and they've beaten Oklahoma in 6 out of their last 10 games. Now, total-wise, 4 out of West Virginia's 6 games away from their home court this year got over the posted number. Meanwhile, 3 out of the Sooners' last 6 got over the line themselves. Throwing out that Texas Tech contest, give me the underdog West Virginia Mountaineers +1 and the over 144. All right, next contest I have for you. It is going to be Purdue versus Illinois, 6 p.m. Eastern tip-off. Illinois is the 9-point favorite, numbers 148.5. The Purdue Boilermakers are +325 for an upset. Purdue's giving up just 67 points a game and just 42% shooting from the field. Travion Williams is scoring over 14 points a night, 10 boards and 3 assists a game for the forward. Meanwhile, Sasha Stefanovic is also scoring a dozen a game, 3 boards and 3 assists a night for the junior. Sasha's also draining 50% of his 3-point shots. Now they're taking on an Illinois squad who's giving up over 70 points a game. The Illini also lost 6 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Boilermakers. Now total-wise, Illinois is 8-2 to the over in their 10 ball games on the season. Meanwhile, Purdue saw 3 out of their last 4 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Purdue Boilermakers +9 in the over 148.5. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be in the SEC. I'm talking about Alabama versus Tennessee, 6 p.m. Eastern start time. The Vols are -9 at home, totals 143. Now, Tennessee's 7-0 straight up on the season, undefeated thus far in the year, 6-1 against the number in those 7 contests. Victor Bailey Jr. scoring 13 points a game, couple of boards, and 90% shooting from the stripe. Can't foul him. He's going to make you pay. He's making 9 out of 10 on average from the foul line. Meanwhile, John Fulkerson's also scoring a dozen a game, 6 boards and a couple assists for the 6'9 senior. The Vols are scoring 80 points a night while also holding their opponents to just 36% shooting from the field. Tennessee's also allowing just 52 points a game. They're taking on a Bama squad who failed to cover the number in 3 out of their last 5, and they shoot just 30% from beyond the arc. Now, total-wise, 2 out of Bama's last 3 stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, Tennessee's 2-0 to the under in their last couple of ball games, 7-1 to the under for the entire season, giving me the Tennessee Volunteers -9 and the under 143. All right, next ball game I have for you, it is going to be in the Big Ten. I'm talking about Michigan State versus Nebraska, 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off. The Michigan State Spartans are -8 away from home. Numbers 152, juice to the under. And despite their recent struggles, the Spartans are still scoring over 78 points a night, and they covered the number in 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Nebraska. Joey Hauser is scoring over 13 points a game, 8 boards and a couple assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Aaron Henry's also dropping a dozen a game himself. He's not dropping a deuce. You probably thought I was about to. I thought I was going to say that, but no. He's dropping a dozen a game. Very weird word choice. I probably should have just said he's scoring a dozen a game. But no, he's dropping a dozen a game himself. 5 boards, 4 assists, and a couple of steals for Henry as well. They're taking on a Nebraska squad who's on a 3-game losing streak and also lost 5 out of their last 6. And Nebraska's shooting just 40% from the field this year, and they failed to cover the number in 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Sparty. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the scoring in this one, Nebraska's last 3 straight all stayed under the posted number. 5 out of Nebraska's last 6 home games stayed under the line as well. Meanwhile, Michigan State is currently 3-0 to the under when they traveled this season themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Michigan State Spartans -8 and the under 152. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final contest for the show. It is going to be Stanford versus Oregon, 8 p.m. Eastern tip on the West Coast. The Oregon Ducks are -5.5 on their home court, totals 141. Oregon's on a 7-game winning streak with marquee wins over the likes of Seton Hall, Washington, and Cal. The Ducks are giving up just 64 points a game and holding their opponents to just 39% shooting from the field. Eugene Amori is scoring over 19 points a game, 5 rebounds and a couple assists for the senior. Meanwhile, Chris Duarte is also scoring 16 points a game, 5 boards and 3 assists for Chris. Duarte is also averaging 2 steals a game, and he's making 90% of his free throws himself. Oregon's a perfect 5-0 straight up at home, and they score nearly 80 points a night. Now they're taking on a Stanford team who failed to cover the number in 4 out of their last 6. The Cardinal has also failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 7 contests in Eugene. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Stanford's last 6 games away from home stayed under the number. Meanwhile, Oregon saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the line themselves. The Ducks are also 3-2 to the under on their home court this year. I'm going to lean toward the Oregon Ducks -5.5 and the under 141. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 3-1 in our last 4 board member tier package picks on that website, 73% in our last 12 picks in that very same category. But as far as our YouTube plays go, I like Kansas -4 over 136. I'm also leaning toward the Iowa Hawkeyes -3 over 158.5. I like West Virginia +1 over 144. I also like Purdue +9 over 148.5. I'm leaning toward Tennessee -9 under 143. I'm also leaning toward Michigan State -8 under 152. And last but certainly not least, please give this video a thumbs up right now if you enjoyed it. And please hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't done so already. Give me the Oregon Ducks -5.5 and the under 141. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout-outs. And from our YouTube platform, shout-out to Heavy Money Records, Grand Ling Team Free, shout-out to C. Dinger, Stephen Quintanilla, Trevino Sloan, Yorkshire, Eddie Sanchez, Jerome Watkins, Straight to the Point, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout-out to my good friend, Tony Hernandez. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. Also keep in mind whenever you buy a package, you get all the cheaper memberships absolutely free. It's included in your purchase. So if you order the $4.99 package here today, all the cheaper memberships are included with your purchase. You'll instantly get access to all the lesser expensive tiers absolutely free. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.